YouTube and YTPC. Happy Boxing Day. This brought to you from the Shed of Shangri-La. Well, we had a magnificent Christmas Day turkey yesterday. Here's a photo of it for you. Did you notice the stuffing? Of course, for me and my wife, that was way too much. 4.5 kilos, so about 11 pounds. So a couple of pounds went to our niece in the apartment below us, and a couple of pounds went to our other niece in the other little chalet next door. It's like a little grotto here of relations who come stay Christmas here. Well, I ate 2 lovely portions of that with roast potatoes. And beautiful gravy. We made the gravy out of the soup from the fondue chinoise the previous evening. You remember that? We were cooking meat with those long fondue spikes in a bouillon or a soup, and of course at the end you've got this incredibly rich soup, and we used that to make the gravy, and it was absolutely exquisite, as was the turkey. When I first came to Switzerland, you couldn't barely get a turkey bits in a can. That's how it was, but it's become popular since then. You can get actually fresh turkeys and easily frozen turkeys for Christmas. It's great. Today I'm smoking my 2019 Peterson pipe with a silver collar, and it actually originally had a brown stem, but I managed to get a white stem from Peterson, Ireland at great cost, but it looks much better because they call this one the Christmas pudding. And if you look at this surface and colour, that is about how a Christmas pudding looks. And this is the white sauce you put on your Christmas pudding. Would you believe it that we actually had a white Christmas? Just a few flutters very late in the night, Christmas Eve, and over the night it snowed. And it was still snowing when I got up on Christmas Day. Here's a little bit of footage for you.
Well, good morning YTPC and Merry Christmas. It is now Christmas Day and we have a white Christmas because before midnight last night it did snow a little bit and the temperature started to drop, and now look at it. Just thought I'd give you a few little views. Let's go to the front. Our poor little reindeer is getting a nice coating of snow. There's the Shed of Serenity. Actually, no. So our reindeer is getting a little coating of snow there in front of the Shed of Shangri-La. It's a real cold snap. It went down about 5 or 6 degrees from where it had been hovering above 0, and it's just perfect for the snow. This is front. You can't even see the mountains up there now. They're all in snow cloud. And all the kids will be getting up. Oh, there they are, look. It's Johanna. And she's having a look outside and speculating about making a snowman, of course. Quite incredible. Well, this is the first proper white Christmas since, I don't know, maybe 10 years or something. We tended to get a lot of snow in January or February, you know, but before Christmas or on Christmas Day exactly was a bit of a rarity, and it used to be absolutely standard in Switzerland. Of course, if you go back 30-40 years ago and before, but it's back because probably we had so much less jet traffic and there was a lot less CO2 produced this year. Maybe might be all kinds of other reasons, or it's just luck or unluck, depending on how you look at snow. But on Christmas Day, I think that's fine. Most of us are putting our feet up, aren't we, and don't have to get somewhere. Oh, it's just lovely. And it quietens everything down. Less and less cars go by. And these snowflakes are not quite the biggies yet, but they might get that way. Let's see. A bit later.
Beautiful, wasn't it? And of course, still digesting that turkey from yesterday, my wife and I went for a little walk, and there's a very old, like 500-year-old path going up towards the mountain here. So we did that. It's a good 40-minute round trip walk, and helped to burn off a few calories and restore our constitution. Here's a little bit of footage of that. So it's been pretty marvellous, even though we couldn't all be together, but we were able to share things and give presents, and then each goes back to their own little bubble, as it were. Found a way to make it work. And today is Boxing Day. Do you know where the origin of that term comes, Boxing Day? It's actually even going back to the Roman times, but certainly from Christianity, where boxers were left with gifts and money for the poor people in the churches, and that was the origin of Boxing Day. So the second day of Christmas tide would be that day, which it is. So in my pipe, you're wondering, 2017, barely read this, Christmas Peterson Xmas tobacco. It's obviously good because this is all that's left. A very nice, a very decent performance by Peterson on this one. I haven't tried them in between, but this is really quite nice. Excellent room note. It's a little weaker on the tastes, but the tastes are there, a bit of sweetness and a bit of caramel, and a tiny bit of spice around there, but very mild. And to drink, of course, I'm still savouring my eggnog here. It's also an emollient for your tongue, because I was smoking often enough my Christmas cheer Wilkie mixture that had given myself a slight amount of tongue block. Not bad, but I find the eggnog is a very good therapy and medicine for that. But what I love about the Christmas time is they get all these old films, you know. And the old joke in England is they always used to bring, like since 20 years, the same films. But sometimes it's somehow good, you know. So I was watching this morning Spartacus, the classic 1960 version. And that film at the time, partly produced by Kirk Douglas, had the most fantastically chosen cast. Beautiful Gene Simmons was in it. Of course, the brilliant Kirk Douglas and Peter Ustinov was in it, and the great Sir Laurence Olivier was in it as Marcus Luscivius Crassus. It may have only been actually partly based on what facts we know about the slave uprisings and Spartacus as a kind of compilation story, but still very representative of the good and the bad, terrible things about the Roman Empire, the absolute cruelty and dictatorship over the lands, and the acceptance of slavery as a complete normality, and what some people would do to fight against it. We should never forget that. But I may have watched that film 40 times or something like that since I was a kid, and there are still scenes in it which I find most impressive. You know, the whole final battle as Spartacus realizes he's going to be caught in a pincer maneuver, so he has to take the road to Rome and take the last battle there, knowing that probably he can't win it. And the cunning and guile of Marcus Luscivius Crassus, who basically diverted other armies to arrive and push him back towards Rome so that he would have a popular battle to fight. Of course, the defense of Rome, all senators and everyone would support it, and that's why they reappointed him as not only general of all of the legions, but first consul, which was more or less a dictator position and a subservient senate. So a high price to pay, but of course through his cunning he basically had 3 armies against one of the slaves, but a very sad and moving ending, of course, about crucifixions and his seeing his son as he was dying on the cross. Very hard not to have a moist eye when you watch scenes like that in that film. In Britain they always were bringing things like The Great Escape, you know, people would say, is that on? You know, it usually is. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're still bringing The Great Escape on as the Christmas offering, and a lot of old repeats of old series because they were too cheap to make new ones. I don't know how it is today on BBC and Sky channels. I'd like to think it's probably a little bit better than how it was in the early 80s when I was around in the UK. But it's part of it, isn't it, really, the Christmas offerings and all these lovely films and beautiful shows that you can watch as well. Well, I have to prepare for the next apéro, make a little a fire dish for everyone, and we're going to grill a few sausages out there and have a small gathering of the adult neighbours in our family, so it's only about 6 people, but it's a nice opportunity to just have a chat and make sure everyone's getting on okay, you know, and what everyone got for Christmas, you know. We're very lucky, it's actually sunny today, very cold outside, -5. Not so cold for Switzerland, but it's colder than it's been, put it that way. It can go down to -15, it's not unusual here in the mountains. But in recent years that's been much less common, of course. Well, I hope you did have a lovely Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and I hope you all did get some nice little presents and had a chance to talk with your families and some of your friends, even if it was over the phone, and had lovely dishes on the table and some good beer and wine as well, that you can have it as a little respite time in the chaotic world, and for a few days more now coming on, that you can put your feet up, rest and smoke a pipe and reflect on good things. Again, I want to thank everyone who's been watching these Christmas videos, leaving your kind comments, and some new visitors who have subscribed. Thank you very much, and I'm really so grateful for that, and motivates me to make more videos, of course, in the future. We'll have a few days break now, going up to New Year. And I'll watch more of those old, but still somehow not outdated films, as I'm a bit of a movie buff myself and love to watch films very often, so it's a great time for me. Take care everyone, look after yourselves and keep enjoying the lovely Yuletide time.